Good morning. Today is September 6th, and this is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Committee on Council. I am Andrea L. Boone, and I would like to welcome everyone who has joined us this morning. To my left is the Honorable Howard Shook, the Honorable Dustin Hillis, and to my right is the Honorable Mary Norwood. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Second.
We have been joined by the Honorable Amir Faroqi. The motion has been adopted by the Honorable Howard Shook and seconded by the Honorable Dustin Hillis. Please open the vote.
One moment. The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Moved by the Honorable Dustin Hillis, seconded by the Honorable Howard Shook. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
Is there a motion to adopt the full council agenda?
So moved.
Moved by the Honorable Dustin Hillis, seconded by the Honorable Howard Shook. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. The full council agenda has been adopted.
Mr. Johnson, do we have any public speakers?
No, Madam Chair. No one has signed up for public comment.
Next on our agenda will be an update from the Clerk of Council, Mr. Forrest Webb and Mr. Sean Brown. Update on boards and commissions. Please proceed.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of CLC. My name is Forrest Webb III, City of Atlanta Municipal Clerk. I'm joined today by Mr. Sean Brown, who serves as the base coordinator for the City of Atlanta and the Office of Municipal Clerk. The base coordinator is responsible for posting the meetings as well as vetting the appointments prior to it being placed on an agenda for consideration by the governing authority. Additionally, to ensure that the appointments are slotted in the proper categories, as well as there are no duplication as far as the individual serving more than what he or she is statutorily obligated or required to serve. And with that being said, I will turn the floor over to Mr. Sean Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Thank you, Mr. Webb. My name is Sean Brown with the Office of the Municipal Clerk. In front of you, you should have a report of the update, of the base update as of today. This report details the confirmed active bases, and I will speak to this in a few. I wanted to answer some of the questions that have been directed to our office regarding bases. A request was made to notify each council member on the number of bases they have in their council district. So earlier this morning, an email was sent to all council members that included just your vacancies for your districts. For the public's knowledge, updated appointment information can be found on the municipal clerk's webpage on the City Council's website. A request was also made for a suggested order as to who brings forward joint appointments. There's nothing in the code that speaks to this. In the past, our office has received appointments on a first-come, first-served basis. If a conflict would arise, the council members would delegate amongst themselves and an appointment would come forward. Also, a request was made to provide an analysis on all active bases. The council member wanted the analysis to provide the following information: the last meeting held of each base, the meeting frequency, and the vacancy percentage. This report highlights, the report that's in front of you highlights this request. Our office has confirmed 65 bases that are currently meeting out of 124 bases in total. This report shows how frequent these boards meet, along with the vacancy percentage and the last meeting date. As of today, there are currently 456 total vacancies for all boards. Out of those we have identified as actively meeting, that number drops down to 98, or just above 20% of the total vacancy rate. Lastly, for the general public that wants to get involved, there's a lot of information posted online from the individual boards themselves. For example, MARTA, Invest Atlanta, the CIDs, Buckhead, Midtown, Downtown. Just to name a few, they post their agendas with meeting times and dates for their upcoming meetings. There's also a lot of information on the municipal clerk's webpage as well that speaks to the composition of these boards. It's recommended that you speak with your council member concerning filling one of those vacancies. Thank you for this time. Are there any questions?
Colleagues, do we have any questions, concerns? Councilmember Vice Chair.
This is a lot of work. Thank you very much for putting this together. What stands out to me is I like the fact that you've just said that of the 456 vacancies, only 98 of those are with boards and authorities and commissions that are currently meeting. So it's only 20%. So when you look at the total vacancies of 456, you're talking about less than 100 out of 1,400 total appointments. The other thing that I really appreciate, and I hope we will post, is that we have the majority of those boards that are meeting, from just looking at this very quickly, that have 0% vacancy. So we have been filling the vacancies this year very diligently. And then when you look more closely at where you do have vacancies, they are very specific areas. It may be a specific TAD, it may be a specific type of commission where there are some vacancies there. So we do need to work on those. But here's one, for example, that has a 43% vacancy, but it is just one area of town. So it's harder to fill a entire commission if you're only talking about one street, as opposed to something that covers the entire city. So this is very, very good information, and I think very helpful to all of us to see. If you would, since I just went very quickly, if you would put together for us the total number of those commissions meeting that have 0% vacancy, that are filled. So what is that number? And then what is the range of how many have between 1 and 8 or 10 vacancies? I mean, you know the numbers better. So you go all the way up to something like 43%, but the majority of these, I think, are more in the 5 to 10%. So most of the positions are filled. So those two analyses where we can see all of these have 0, all of these are completely filled, and then this is the degree to which others are filled, because I think there's been a lot of work done this year.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks. Thank you. We have been joined by the Honorable Matt Westmoreland. You all have done a tremendous job on this report, and we have made a lot of progress. So do we have any questions or concerns? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, will you please sound item number 1?
Madam Chair, can we take items number 1 through 4 together as a block? These communications were all favorable from their respective committees.
Please proceed.
Section H, Communications. Item number 1, 22C, 5113, a communication from Council President Doug Shipman, reappointing Mr. David Marvin to serve as a member of the Downtown Atlanta Community Improvement District. This appointment is for a term of 4 years to begin retroactively on June 16th, 2022, and expire June 15th, 2026. Item number 2, 22C, 5134, a communication from Pierre Gaither, Executive Director of the Atlanta Board of Education, submitting the reappointment of himself to serve as a member of the Keep Atlanta Beautiful Commission. This appointment is for a term of 2 years to begin retroactively on March 5th, 2022, and expire March 4th, 2024. Item number 3, 22C, 5137, a communication from John O'Callahan, President and CEO of Atlanta Neighborhood Development Partnership Incorporated, submitting the appointment of Mr. Van Hardeman to serve as a member of the Atlanta Beltline Affordable Housing Advisory Board. This appointment is for a term of 2 years. Lastly, item number 4, 22C 5138, a communication from John O'Callahan, President and CEO of Atlanta Neighborhood Development Partnership Incorporated, submitting the appointment of Ms. Rita Gibson to serve as a member of the Atlanta Beltline Affordable Housing Advisory Board. This appointment is for a term of 2 years.
This has been motioned by the Honorable Matt Westmoreland, seconded by the Honorable Dustin Hillis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. These items are favorable. This takes us to Section I, ordinance for second reading. Item number 5, 22-01652, an ordinance by committee on council to amend City of Atlanta Code of Ordinance Section 66-2, precinct boundary lines and polling places by amending the 2017 precincts and polling places ordinance in Fulton County precincts 1T, 7A1, 7D1, and 7M due to facility undergoing renovations and returning facility to original location and for other purposes. And Madam Chair, the recommendation is to hold this item.
Motion to hold by the Honorable Matt Westmoreland, seconded by Dustin Hillis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is held. Madam Chair, that concludes our legislative items for today.
Colleagues, do we have any questions, concerns, business, or announcements? This meeting is adjourned.